Hey guys, welcome back to the channel of Bowie, and we're playing more Breath of the Wild. So just like last episode, I gotta talk over my past self and make him really quiet because I didn't know how to mix the audio right. Oops. Well, today we're starting off with a shrine, and um, I remember the first time playing this shrine, and I was really bad at it because it's all about the paragliders. Like, oh, you can follow these wind currents and stuff, and that's all fine and dandy, but if you just hop up, if you're sitting on the platform, you just hop up and press the paraglider button, it won't come out. So you kind of have to jump off the edge first, which is why I sucked at it my first time playing through, and also why I just fell off right there. So it's double trouble, I guess, beating me in the past and beating me now. Well, also in the past, I've learned since then, because I made a comment about that then too. I actually got a game over in here because I kept here. It's like, oh, you better make sure you do it right, and I did it right sometimes. But the biggest thing is there's a treasure chest over here that you have to glide to from over there, and you barely make it. You barely make it. So. I died. I lost a lot of hearts because I was like, I have to get this chest. And it didn't work out too well. But this time, I get it right off the bat, and I was like, wow, I'm super proud of myself. So, spoiler alert for my own Let's Play. Oops. So, this just gives me Soldier's Claymore, which, I had broken one of my super badass weapons from last time. So now I actually get to make some use out of that. And that's, a-okay. This is just, it's a pretty easy shrine, and I remembered it being longer, but I guess, you fall to your death a million times in a row, it seems longer than it actually is, so. This gives us our 5th Spirit Orb, so. In this play session, there's actually only 2 shrines, which you can see that there's, like, when you, in the starting area, the Great Plateau, it's, probably one of the densest regions in the game of like where shrines are, where everything is. There's just a lot to do. You can talk to the old man a lot. Learn some of the mechanics of the game because he teaches you that stuff. It's a very well made opening level, but then you get out of here, and it's a lot bigger, a lot more to explore. But it's also the density of things to do is a lot less, and it's mostly made up of Korok seeds. And that's the majority of this. So we cross this bridge and we go to, actually, I missed a Korok seed up north. It's it's a bow Korok seed mission thing. So, I got the one in the south part of this, did it just say East Ruins? I can't remember, but there's one up north, and that's still in this area that I had forgotten to get. So I go and get that now. I don't know what I'm doing here. I probably was like, got lost talking about something and then just started like not really thinking, there it is. So that's stump. So once you stay on the stump, some things will spawn for you to shoot. But I think there's an enemy. Yeah, there's a Moblin coming. He was like, oh, swiggity spooty, I'm coming for that booty. So I had pressed the backflip button too late, so I didn't. I just blocked it, which I feel like it should have punished me because I had put that input in and then missed it. But it just gives it to you. Your shield will take the damage. So there's these acorns being thrown in the air, and you can time stomp them, which makes them a lot easier to hit because then you don't even have to worry or think about timing it at all. Though I bet you feel a lot cooler about yourself if you do, but it's just a smarter way to go about it, and it's quicker. Unless you're like, Bo Jesus over here. I can imagine in a 100% speed run, people will try to get like really good at those cycles of each and every one of these, but could you just imagine like 900 Korok seed speed run in Breath of the Wild? I had heard from one of my friends that was one that a computer generated. You know, they put all the points that you have to go to in a game on a map, and then the computer like generated a path, and you know, it wasn't a very good path. I'm not sure if I had talked about this before, because I might have talked about it while I was recording the first time, but you know, you can't really hear that very well.
It's a pretty funny one, I think.
But I had heard that, and it's just kind of like, you know, when I was thinking about 100%ing this game, I was thinking, oh, you know, I have to make this somewhat, you know, of a decent path. You know, I don't want to have to be like, oh, did I forget one thing in this area and have to go back here. I want it to be kind of as smooth as possible, so it takes a little bit of planning beforehand. So I'm doing the entire west side of the Dueling Peaks in this session, and then the next session I'll do the east side, which has that's where Kakariko Village is in the next progression of the plot. So, and all the things in this area are able to be done now, I think, and that'll be really really helpful. Because that's kind of what I want to do. I don't want to have to like try to backtrack to areas. So, if possible, we will never go back to Kakariko Village except for like main quest stuff, you know, and some side quest stuff. And that's just that. Actually, I don't think there's really much more to say about that. Because I don't want to have to be like, oh, I need to do this side quest. I forgot this side quest. You know, I will have like, if necessary, I'll have like a side quest cleanup thing at the end of this. But I kind of want it to be everything like spaced out as even as possible, because I don't want to just do, okay, let's just do the main story and then there's just only side quests, or we're gonna do a bunch of side quests for a while, then a bunch of story. I'm trying to mix everything out in between as best as possible. So I'm trying to decide which of the 4 divine beasts to go for first. Actually, it's either between there's Varuta and Va Meadow, I believe it is. I can't remember. I think it's named after Medley from Wind Waker, but kind of loosely. One of them is the Rito tribe, one of them is the Zora tribe one, because each one is, you know, gifted to one of the 4 main tribes of the game. Minus, you know, the Kokori the Korok, I mean, don't count. Though they do have their own unique things about them that we will see. But each of those 2 paths have, you know, their own unique thing about them, and geographically, the Zora one's easiest to go to first. But the Rito one is the most rewarding to do first. And I learned here that you can break wooden chests, which is interesting. It isn't. I don't think it's the, you know, breaks the contents inside that too, like in Dark Souls. But I'm not gonna complain too much. I mean, I'm not actually even complaining. I'm just saying you can. There's no mimics. Thank God. There are things where a lot of people like to compare Dark Souls to everything, and I feel like there are comparisons to be made here. One of the things you can notice, that you might note, is that, you know, this is one of the things that was really, really influential about Ocarina of Time, is that a lot of like 3D games in the future, you know, they're all just more complex versions of Ocarina of Time's, you know, of its battle system, you know, with the way the camera works and the way you lock on and the way you dodge enemies with, you know, pressing back and then A to jump through type of thing. You know, it's kind of used in this game, and that was Dark Souls is just a better version of that. It has more features and it's enhanced. So it's one of those things that Ocarina of Time does have amazing influence, and it does think it, you know, it created a rather intuitive camera system and locking on system that, you know, that's, you know, one of the biggest main things in modern action gaming type of thing when you have any sort of fighting system that's in a 3D environment. That's not a shooter game where it's all about aiming and managing the camera, you know, in something where camera management isn't as important, but you're, you know, dodging and attacking inputs, you know, and movement are more important. And that's one of the things that I think Breath of the Wild could do. It'd be interesting to see in another Zelda game. And I don't want to necessarily say Breath of the Wild could do better, but it'd be an interesting feature to see added to Breath of the Wild, or a future like Zelda game is, you know, more interesting movement options in battle. A lot of the upgrades you get in this game don't really help. They don't really help with how you fight enemies too much. You know, it just makes either one makes fighting enemies safer, one makes it, you know, I don't want to actually spoil if that's too much. I'm not going to say what I was going to say, but like the point being is, I'd like to see more movement options in the future because you do have shield surfing. It'd be interesting to see, you know, other things you could do like enemy surfing. If you could like kick an enemy and then jump all of them and ride them down a hill while slicing at other things, you know, silly, like crazy, but like height things like that, you know. Especially, I mean, they did have more friction, but if like the grass is sleek and stuff, you know, it could be pretty interesting. Or if they have a shield on their back, that would make them go down a little bit more, you know. More interesting environmental aspects of the game. Because, oh, yeah, I had cut there because I was like, yeah, I'm just going to go get this rock. I have to climb up this cliff and get it. I probably should have shown where this is on the map. So, oops, but you can kind of see from perspective. Yeah, you can. Well, I guess showing where it is on the map is not that helpful because I don't really have a map. Okay, now I see where that happened. But yeah, there's aspects of this game that I feel like the core combat system has a very good starting place, but I feel like there could be some more actiony elements that could really make it shine. Because early on in the game, you know, it's all about using the environment. You see a rock, you're like, okay, I see enemies. Because going and fighting enemies can be a little bit risky at first, especially when you're not used to the mechanics and how the flurry attack works. You know, you can get really beat up, but once you understand that, and you can, like, you know the patterns, you know, you don't ever really have to use the environment anymore, which is what makes the beginning of the game so interesting when you're first playing it, is because you're like, okay, I don't know I have to really think about this. You see this mobile camp on the inside of this thing, you see those lamps, you see hanging from the ceiling, and you're like, if I shoot this down, it'll cause these exploding barrels to explode, and you know, it makes the fight a lot easier. Or you say, okay, I can, from far away, I can drop, Magnesis drop this metal door on their head. But, you know, later in the game, enemies have a lot more HP. And so, the damage that does is so small, and it takes so long that, you know, you'll hit them once, and it's just not worth it time-wise anymore. Because you do become really powerful in this game. Which kind of makes the difficulty curve really upside down. Which is fine. You know, that's one of the things that a lot of games do. They have it harder at first because you really have to, you know, it is a tougher world to survive in, is what they're kind of making it, but you can be powerful. And so they give you more powerful equipment to make you feel like you're becoming stronger. But there's more effective ways of doing it, instead of like giving you things that just make you like numerically and statistically just objectively stronger. Having the game set up so that you learn and become better at it, and that's like Devil May Cry is a prime example of that. As you play that game more and more, you do get power ups, but most of your power ups are things that you have to end up using. There's, you know, new skills, and you have to learn how to implement them. So it's really more of a, you're getting better at this game. You have more options, and you know, you have to actually pull off these options. But you know, if you do, you can pull off crazy combos. You feel awesome. And so the game gets harder as it goes on, and boy, does it get harder as it goes on. But you also feel like you're becoming better at it.
Children on YouTube.
And I do feel like I did become better at Breath of the Wild as it came on, but you know, it also felt like that was also stunted a little by how much better I was getting because of, you know, how the difficulty curve is and how the item progression is in this game. That's kind of an issue with like RPG-esque systems, is that, you know, you can grind and become more powerful. You know, I can collect a bunch of stuff, sell it, upgrade my armor. You know, I can sit there and grind fireflies for 3 years, and now I'm really strong. And that's one of the things I worry about most with choosing this game as a Let's Play, is that it will get a little bit more boring. Because I want to try my best to try to keep things interesting and, you know, discuss things about individual shrines and stuff, because that's what you can talk about individual shrines really easily and say, okay, this is how you solve this puzzle, you know, this is why I think this puzzle's good, bad, yada yada yada. And that's why I want to make sure everything's spaced out equally when I play through this game, because it's kind of like, that's important, because if I'm just stuck at the end and all this stuff is core exceeds, it's going to be horribly boring, not just for myself, and not just for, well, but for you, the viewer, as well. So that's kind of like what's going on in my head as I record this, you know. Yeah. So, and another thing is that part of the reason why I chose this game is because, you know, I want a game that I can play for a while and be an ongoing series. You know, I started playing Sonic the Hedgehog because, you know, this game takes a little bit of thought and planning it, you know, to say, okay, this is what I'm going to do in these episodes beforehand. But Sonic games, you know, they're not games I have to take as seriously. I can just be like, yeah, I can just go back and, you know, try the Emerald challenges over and over again until I get them. It might be frustrating, but I can do that off camera. So, playing Sonic Heroes at the same time as this, you know, it really makes it,
I'm sure what this is.
It gives me something to record when I'm sitting there like, okay, I have to plan out the next Breath of the Wild videos. Because it does take a little bit of planning. It does take a little bit of thinking about, okay, you know, what are the core seats available in this region? What things are in this region that I can't do yet? Like, is there a shrine that's going to be too difficult for what, you know, how much health I have, or what weapons I have? Because some of them are combat challenges, and some of them you're expected to have later game equipment. So, you know, that becomes a level of difficulty with, you know, what should I be doing? And I feel like using amiibos will help with that. I would be able to get those done earlier if I have my powerful weapons, but then at the same time that kind of feels cheap. But it's also like I want to clear out areas as I go along and not have to be like constantly like sitting on it, you know what I mean?
So now it's pretty simple.
I mean, that's that really. But you know, that's the thing about Breath of the Wild, is I am planning it. So that's why I want to do Sonic Heroes at the same time, and I'll probably be playing through. I'll probably get through with some other like smaller series as I go along with this. Just due to the fact, because of how long this game is and how much, you know, my own time I get, has to take up. And I also like that monster throwing a rock at me. That was really nice of it.
That doesn't look like any place will.
Yeah, okay. I pointed out there's a little shrine over there. I was like, were you trying to pull out your bow? Past Matthew, are you dumb? I think I hit all these in my first try. I was like, damn, I didn't think I was that good with the bow. I mean, not to imply that I'm, you know, skilled by any means with the bow, but I thought it was like some level of terrible. Oh boy. Yeah, I'm kind of sprawled out on my couch right now while like recording this sort of audio session, because it's only audio and I can barely see this, you know, the image on the screen. It's a lot smaller of a box because, you know, I have a Windows Movie Maker to edit these things, so I hope that's not too obvious. I think they turn out pretty decent for just, you know, for what I have. As I use an Elgato capture card, and so that's part of the problem with, you know, the audio mixing is that I can't fix it afterwards because it puts both the it puts both of my my voice and the game audio into one audio file, so it's like you can't separate my voice from the game and then make my voice louder afterwards, or the game quieter, or the game louder, you know. So it all has to be done beforehand, and I was stupid this last time and didn't, you know, when I changed the audio, I was like, yeah, this should be fine, and then I just went and recorded it without, you know, testing it first, which usually I remember to do that, but this time I really messed up. There we are. See, I had to climb up this cliff because I thought the rock was down on the lower shelf, but it's on the higher shelf, and I was like, yeah, I don't think anyone wants to watch me climb up this cliff. You know, this is already one of the longer episodes, I believe. That wasn't on purpose. It was just kind of like I wanted to get to the tower by the end, just to be able to like feel like it had a natural ending point where it's just like, oh yeah, I caught a bunch of Korok seeds. You know, it has a little bit more than the Korok seed. We got the Korok seed and then the tower, which it means a little bit more because it just means we can see our map now, and that's probably because the first episode had a Talus fight, and the third episode, you know, I think has a Talus fight, and then the fourth one after, you know, the fourth one in the session has a shrine, so it's kind of like every one of these episodes, I want to feel like there's just something other than Korok seed when I can. So this one gets a little bit long just due to the fact that I wanted to get the tower at the end. Which I feel is, you know, like probably a better thing, just because it's like, oh, this video was entirely Korok seeds, and you know, and I feel like there's more of an issue with the game because when it comes to trying to do 100% run is because, you know, that's pretty much all there is. It is really representative of the game of like how much more Korok seeds there are of anything else, you know.
I don't think that's too bad.
I think we're like at 30 something now. We found 3 Taluses. We've done at this point 5 shrines or so. Yeah, 5. And by the end of the session, it's 6, and we got 2 towers. Like,
float all the way up here and get to a pretty decent height before.
it's like if you add up all the other things together, it's still less than the amount of Korok seeds we've done at this point. And Korok seeds don't take as much time. There are a lot of like tiny, easy puzzles just spread it out throughout the world, you know, just to make it seem like there's really more to do. Which, you know, that's part of my. I do have some level of cynicism when it comes to this game, just because I feel like it had the ability to have so much more added to it. And oh, you see there that you know, I was trying to jump up the side of it, but it kind of put me up on a part of the platform where I would fall off. Instead, climbing the towers can be a little bit weird, and you can jump up, but you can get from a single tier to the next tier if you have at least one stamina upgrade, just by completely like mashing the jumping button. So that's probably one of the quickest ways to get up.
That'd be really nice.
I feel for the most part, like, yeah, stamina. You know, the stamina wheel is always going to be faster than the health upgrade. But the health upgrade is safer. Because I do like the idea of speedrunning, and it'd be interesting for me to learn a game. I don't think. I mean, I might do this game. Like, it's a short speedrun from what I've seen, any percent wise, but and it could be fun to, you know, help route on 100% speedrun. But there's just, I think there's other games I would rather speedrun. I think Metal Gear Solid in particular. But then it's like, I really do have to practice that, like, every day type of thing. So I kind of need to, like, rearrange my life a little bit in my time management if I want to start doing that. And I'm going to have to, like, watch other runs and kind of learn the basics. Which I think would be interesting, but at the same time, you know, I'm not sure if this is interesting to anyone else, but, you know, this is kind of stuff that I think, hey, man, this would be really cool to do. So, all right, well, I think I'm trying to kill those Bokoblin, but I miss every time. But this is going to be the end for this episode. So, if you like, you know, if you like what you saw, which I hope, you know, me talking over my old self helps with that a little bit. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. And I hope that this doesn't really happen again where I have to do this. So I say we're going to go for this star fragment. So we'll see what happens next time. Peace out.